Hi everybody, I'm Alex and we're gonna speak with Dave here from Devolver Games, who made just Enter the Gungeon. So we're in Paris and it's my city, in my country, so I'm lucky to can speak with you about your game and about your experience with that project. Okay, you're the game designer.
I am.
Okay, you made this game with 3 other guys.
Yeah.
And some external people who made the music.
Dose One made the music. He worked on Samurai Gun and Gang Beasts. And Erica Hampson did all the sound effects.
Yeah. Okay, so 2 musicians.
1 musician and 1 sound designer.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you're game designer, you have the artist, who's kind of sick today.
Yeah, he's not feeling too well.
And 2 programmers.
Yes.
That's it. Did you knew those guys? You were friends or something, or did you meet each other for that project?
So Joe, the artist, we've been friends forever. Went to high school together, and he was just doing a freelance illustration.
Okay.
And I knew that whenever the project came down the line, that he was going to have to be involved because he's just,
into video games.
Yeah, it was just he had to be part of it. It was definitely always going to happen. And then the other 2 guys I worked with at EA actually, but funnily enough, one of the other guys, Dave Rubel, I also went to high school with, but we never talked to each other in high school.
Okay.
It wasn't until we started kind of getting the band together and we were like, oh, we never talked to each other, but we actually, I think, had 1 class together.
Okay.
I did know Joe before, but the other 2 guys mostly met through EA.
Okay. You worked at EA?
Yes.
Okay. And did Joe has some experience in video game industry, or it was his first?
No. This was his first thing. He actually learned pixel art for Gungeon. He was doing more like just like larger illustrations with just
digital painting.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, it's funny. So who bring the idea? It's your idea, Enter the Gungeon.
Yeah, just. The name popped into my head, and then we tried to figure out what that was going to be.
Okay, you started with the title.
Yeah, we started with the name.
Enter the Gungeon.
Yeah, I remember I just went up to one of the programmers, Brent, and I said to him, because we were trying to think of a game. We knew we wanted to do a small project, and which of course it's way bigger than we thought it was going to be now. But I just went up to him and I was like, what about a game called Enter the Gungeon? And he just went, yes. Now what is it? Okay. And and we sort of.
Did you try something different at first, and or it was straight the first idea was the one?
Well, we talked about it a lot before we actually got to work, and we sort of knew the direction we wanted to go because we really wanted to do a dungeon crawler roguelike because we had really gotten into sort of the ideas around the genre. Like I went back and played Shiren the Wanderer, and we talked a lot about Chocobo's Dungeon and Pokemon Mystery Dungeon and all these roguelikes. So we sort of knew we wanted to do that. We were big D&D fans, and like the bullet hell sort of pattern thing came out of I don't know, it just sort of came out of discussion. I guess we sort of just went with the first idea, but we sort of knew what it was. Yeah.
Okay, so you started to work all the team, or you add the other people for the work or something?
So what happened was we knew we had worked on like game jam projects together, like while we were at EA, like smaller things, for like online. Online competition. I mean, we were sort of already friends, and then EA shut the studio we were working at down, and we just were like, well, we can either try to find another job in the larger industry, or we can just, take our savings right now and hit the ground running. So we just had Joe was freelance, so he was just ready to go, and then we were free, so we just.
Okay, but I didn't know that you try something on your savings. It was really risky. You took a risk.
I would say so. The savings are all gone now, so hopefully Gungeon does.
It's worth it, right?
Well, the experience. The experience was certainly worth it. Hopefully, the game does well enough that we can, eat food and everything.
Yeah, I guess now
Yeah.
you can be healthy again.
Yeah, it's been a long
the
road.
old days.
Yeah, back when the water and beer was plentiful.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's the part of the indie adventure.
Yeah.
You eat really bad.
Yeah.
We have, I guess, to say that to people who want to build a video game, you're gonna eat really bad.
Yeah.
For some years, maybe.
Yeah, lots of noodles.
Noodles. Without noodles, there's no indie video game, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, and does Joe was totally free about the art direction, or do you?
The general look, is totally Joe's, head. The reason it's as quirky and like has as much character as it does is absolutely like his. And like I have very strong opinions about the way things should feel, and sometimes I'll say like, maybe we could restrict the colors here or there just to make it a little more cohesive.
Yeah, that's it. It just told me sooner than you had some little discussions about what's cool. Like, okay, your character is perfect for what he's doing, like for his return, but he's not cool enough. And you were looking for what's can be cool, this definition of cool.
Yeah, we definitely, sometimes, so the game has a lot of character, mostly because of Joe, but sometimes when he comes up with an idea, I kind of go like, this is awesome, and like I love it, but I don't know if other people are gonna, respond. So we try to move it just, and this is rare too. Most of the time he's totally good. I mean, he designed the Bullet Man, and then when he designed it, everyone just came around and said, okay, well, just now design the rest of the art based on the Bullet Man.
Okay, that's the game now. It's Bullet Curry.
Yeah, we saw it immediately. He did a little animation of him walking, and it was like, that's it. That's the game. Everything.
And now it's the symbol of the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
I saw some goodies right now.
Oh yeah, you can buy a stuffed animal, like
it's already done. It's not a fake. It's a real goodie.
Yeah.
I met obviously other team from Devolver, like Foratic in Spain.
Right.
And how do you work? Do you have some? How do you say that? Some place where you work all together, or do you all work on Skype at home?
No, we do work together in my apartment in the living room.
Okay.
So we.
You're not roommates?
Not all of us. Me and Brent are roommates, and then we have another roommate who doesn't work on the game. He just goes in his own room. And
you don't speak to him. Not indeed.
No, he's another really old friend who puts up with us taking over the living room.
He's the playtester.
Yeah, and moral support for sure. But the other two guys drive from home and come in and work, and they have their own stations. And we just found that, especially for the first game, like we weren't sure. We thought about doing remote because we're all fairly close to each other, but still there's some. Joe does an hour drive each way.
Okay.
And we just wanted to make sure that the communication was very strong for our first game, because we needed to develop how we worked as a team.
Mm-hmm.
We had done the game jams before, but it's very different when you're going into a 2-year project, and you need to make sure the communication is very strong. And also just, we're working really hard, and we have to maximize time, and the more, while you can absolutely make it work separately, and we might do that in the future, we just wanted to remove variables, absolutely just get to work and try to make it as best we can.
Okay, that's something people should know, that it's not just fun to make indie game. Even if you with Devolver and you're making Entered Gungeon with a so cool game with a lot of guns, it's not just fun. You worked yourself, and you have obviously some really harsh moments. When you doubt about yourself, and you have really to make some codes and put some sprites and stuff. You agree it's not just passion and fun and laughs.
No, I think
making an indie game can be really long and difficult.
I think that if anyone tells you that like making an indie game is easy, I don't know.
Obviously, usually it's the teenagers who don't realize. So I think we have to warn them.
Yeah.
you have to hang it up. It's not just like that.
It's not only are you, for us, I mean, I would say without question, our team worked harder than they ever have in their life, when they worked on Gungeon than any other time. And everybody talks in the game industry about super long hours, but it's like when you're working on an indie game, it's like if I was at EA, and we're going into crunch, like there's like regulations and stuff. They can only make you do it for so long, and your boss tells you to work, and then you say, boss, and then you get mad and you go home, and then but eventually like it lets up. With an indie game, it's all your team regulating it. So
decisions.
So you just have to keep working and working, and you're with a small group, and it can put a lot of. Not only is it super hard work, but it's like putting a lot of pressure on the relationship, on your team.
Yeah, even when you're friends.
No, exactly, and it can be really hard because you don't have like someone to like vent on. There's no boss, right? Yeah. It's just like if something's not working. It's like and you kind of, on the team we certainly butted heads. I think it's actually been relatively smooth, for us, but it's there's moments of tension, but not just that. I mean, we have been working 7 days a week, many hours a day for the past 6 months, and like that's just the past 6 months. Before that, it was a little lighter, but it was still, way more than I worked in when I was working for a large company in the games industry. And even then, I felt like that was a lot of work. So now I'm just like, whew, I am very ready to take some time off and play Dark Souls.
If you have the opportunity after your vacations, to go back in a similar project, like a big project who will need a few years to make, do you agree?
I think that amongst the team, there's a lot of love for the idea of a smaller game first. Yeah. So I think what we'll do is, we're gonna be working on Gungeon for a while after it's out as well, because we're gonna be doing some updates and stuff. But once we start to think about Project 2, I think there's some love or some positive energy to maybe do like some game jams or some really small stuff and see if that sort of refreshes us. But otherwise, we might do a somewhat smaller game than Gungeon. All of that said, all of the ideas that we really love, the ones that like we think about, we have to make these games before we quit or before we die. Those are bigger. So I think
just to find back the sensations to make games and have fun. No big pressure and stuff. Big pressure.
Yeah. So I think ultimately we will go back and make a larger game. I just don't know, or this as big or bigger than Gungeon, but I don't know exactly when that will happen.
How do you feel? What can you say to all the developers in the world who will love to live your moments now?
Man.
Are you stressed? Are you happy? Are you exhausted?
I'm very, very stressed. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like we, as a team, are very aware that we have been very lucky to, find our audience, and Devolver has been extremely good to us, and we definitely couldn't have done it without them. I try to like think about, how truly lucky we are to have been able to even do this, and hopefully, find some relative success. But the moment to moment right now is still, I'm not just like, yay, like not yet.
It's not the fantasy of this moment you say, oh, it's finished, it's so cool, I'm so happy and I'm drunk, and it's not like that. You have to wait, I guess, certain time after the release date to starting to be relaxed.
Yeah, no, it's funny, whenever people say like, oh, I got to play Gungeon and I really liked it, every single time someone says that, it's like, oh, thank God. I never think to myself like, don't worry, our game is super cool. Like that, you just don't have that thought. I at least I don't. I just every time somebody says that they like it, I'm just like, oh man, thank God. Oh.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks for having me, man.
Thank you, man. That's
pleasure.
really cool, and obviously I will finish your game as soon as possible.
Awesome.
Thank you all.
Enter the Gungeon.